Draymond Green walked up to Jordan Poole with the body language of, man, not me, we are tired of you and your antics. And Jordan Poole, he wasn't trying to hear that. He put two hands on him. So Draymond slapped him. Jordan Poole got punched because he wasn't humble.
My Ducks, my Swans, welcome to the pod.
Why good NBA players fall off. I was watching the Gilbert Arenas podcast. He does a really good job because you rarely get to hear from someone who was the best player on their team, one of the most popular players in the league, who averaged 30 points per game, who's dropped 60 on Kobe, and him talk about the perspective as openly and transparently and as genuine as he does from someone who was in that pole position. You know, the best player can call the owner up on the phone and he's going to answer. The best player can say, sit this guy down and put this guy in. You know, the best player can say, I'm not playing or I'm not passing y'all the ball. You know, and Gilbert Arenas does such a good job talking about these things that it really gives a really good insight. So go check his podcast out. But one thing that I took from something he was saying was how guys don't study the game. And I started thinking about how good NBA players fall off, and that's the number one reason why. They don't study the game. They aren't students of the game. You know, when I'm looking at rookies when they come into the NBA, they do a whole bunch of press, they do a whole bunch of media, they do a whole bunch of interviews. And when they start doing a bunch of press and media, you start seeing who was someone who grew up loving the game and studying the game and being a student of the game, and who was someone who was just really good at the game and they found out a little bit later in life, and now they've parlayed that into playing in the NBA. I look at the Thompson twins, Amin and Asar. And when there was a clip that was on Twitter, it might have been on Instagram, and where they had to name players that started with the letter A or something like that, and they went super deep. They went like 25 players deep, and it was really impressive to see kids that young know that much about the NBA, not just today, but historically as well. And so that shows they study the game. Even if it's from playing NBA 2K, that's still studying the game. You got other clips of guys in the NBA draft, they can't even name current NBA All-Stars. I'm not saying that's a huge indicator of who's going to be successful, but it is an indicator of me of what you doing in your free time. Basketball is a love language for me. I'm constantly watching it. I'm constantly reading it. I'm constantly looking at it. Anytime I see basketball, it catches my attention. I talk about it and do so much with it, I don't even realize it when I do. I've been wearing this hoodie for like 5 years as I've been on social media, and I wore it because this is the shirt that I was the most comfortable with when I was coaching. But I wore this, and I wasn't even thinking about, like, this is a basketball polo. Did I call this a hoodie? I think I might have said that. I thought about, this is not a basketball polo. Like, this is just the Group 82 polo, but this is a coaching polo. It's in everything that I do, and it's subconscious for me. So when I see it in other people, that's when I know that you're a student of the game. And Patrick Beverley talked about this on his podcast. He feels like more than half the guys in the NBA do not love the game. And I think that's true too. I feel like a lot of these guys are just in it for the hell of it. And I ain't saying that they hate the game. I ain't saying they don't like it, but they don't love it. When you wonder why guys don't make the sacrifices that they need to make. You wonder why guys don't stay in shape. You wonder why guys don't study film. You wonder why guys don't win. You wonder why guys don't have championships. You wonder why guys don't get max deals. Well, this is what it comes down to. Are you becoming a student? Y'all are playing for these teams that have been around for 70 plus years, some of them. Are you reaching out to everybody who's played for these teams that are legends? Ja Morant, now you got Derrick Rose. Are you going to use him as the resource that you need to, that he's on your team? Because there ain't nothing that the 23-year-old youngest MVP the NBA has ever seen from his hometown, Chicago, Illinois, playing for the Chicago Bulls, has seen in this NBA that you haven't dealt with or that you will deal with. Are you using him as a resource? Are you breaking down film? Or are you only watching film when you're in the facility? Are you watching film on your own? Are you texting your head coach questions? Are you texting your assistant coaches questions? Are you texting your player development guys questions? Are you texting your video guys questions and asking for extra edits that the coaches might not want you to see or might not even have thought about? Are your agents helping you with this too? Do you know how to watch film? This is something you need to be honest about. Do you know what the number 1 position is? Do you know what the number 4 position is? Do you know what the pinch post is? Do you know what the dunker spot is? Do you know what a down screen, a rip screen, a zip screen, a flare screen? Do you know these things? Cross screen? If you don't, you need to ask. And if your coaches don't know, you need to tell somebody they don't know. They need to get out. You got to be a student of the game. I was watching the quarterbacks documentary on Netflix, and they had an episode where they were talking about, it was called Mind Games. And they were talking about all the information that quarterbacks got to process. And Patrick Mahomes said, people feel like that you can be stupid and play football. He said, there's no way that you can be stupid and play football as a quarterback. There's no way that you can go through school, and once you get through school, you're like, oh, well, since I'm in the NFL, I ain't got to study ever again. He said, I study harder in my NFL playbook than I ever did when I was in college. And he's one of the greatest quarterbacks, if not I'm not going to say that. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He studies the game. Are you studying the game? Honestly, keep it real. Number 2, they love the lifestyle more than they love the game. The NBA today is a little bit different than it used to be back in the day. Back in the day, guys practiced for 2 hours, taped up, knees, ankles, knee pads. You was out there being physical, really getting after it, even in shoot-arounds. Guys played 82 games. It was a badge of honor. Go look at Michael Jordan. Go look at his career games that he played. Games played, games started every single season. How many times do you see him playing 79 to 82 games? Damn near every single year. Now, that's not the case. So much so that in this new collective bargaining agreement, they had to implement a rule that for you to win MVP or Defensive Player of the Year or All-NBA, you had to play at least 65 games. 65 games. This past year, the 2022-23 season, Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies, he played 26 minutes a night and won Defensive Player of the Year. 26 minutes a night. It's only 48 minutes in a game. He set out damn near half the game. When I was growing up, guys, it was a badge of honor to play 40 minutes a night. Got load management. Got 30, 45-minute practices. Putting up some shooting drills. Going over a few sets, going home. Playing video games all day. On Instagram, DMing whoever all day. Doing whatever that's not conducive to your basketball lifestyle all day. Getting paid millions of dollars. More social currency, more social clout than you could ever imagine. So it is amazing being in the NBA, playing in the NBA. So enjoy your fruits of your labor. Enjoy the lifestyle. But when you love the lifestyle more than you love the game, you're not going to win. I look at somebody like James Harden, top 75 players ever, first ballot Hall of Famer. Going to be MVP, has won MVP. And he ain't going to win a championship. Now it's a number 1 or a number 2. He enjoys the lifestyle more than the game. During the NBA playoffs, when he's coming up for a contract extension, Joel Embiid wins the MVP. They haven't gotten out to second round since Joel Embiid's been there. James Harden leaves in the middle of a playoff run to go to Vegas to kick it, to come back. If you're going to go to Vegas, how you not going to take all your teammates? Better yet, why are you going to Vegas when we're in the middle of a playoff run? What happened the next round? They got eliminated. Does he really love the game? Looks like James Harden loves hanging around Lil Baby. He more in love with the lifestyle. Number 3, lack of humility. It takes a lot to get to the NBA. You got to be enormously confident in yourself, borderline arrogant. And when you step on that court, you got to feel like you the God's gift to basketball. As ignorant and arrogant and lightweight blasphemous as that might be. That's what you got to feel about yourself. But you got to understand that stays just on the court. When you're in practice, you shouldn't be feeling like that. When you're in individual workouts, you're going through the drills, absolutely you should feel like that. But when you listen to the coach, you shouldn't feel like that. And when you're in the locker room and beyond, you definitely shouldn't be acting like that. But a lot of guys, they lack the humility. They let that confidence and that arrogance seep into everything in their life. And when you do that, what happens is you start getting a bad reputation. First, you start getting a bad reputation with your teammates. Then you start getting a bad reputation with your coaches. Then you start getting a bad reputation with your management. Then you start getting bad reputation with your agent. Then you start getting a bad reputation in the media. Then you start getting a bad reputation with the fans. And next thing you know, you 29 years old in the best athletic shape you've ever been in your life, and no one is even remotely close to contacting you to be on an NBA team. Well, you might have been a lottery pick. You might have been an all-star at one time. You might have been an Olympic gold medalist at one time. And now they don't even want you around. You lack humility. You know, when the Jordan Poole, Draymond Green situation first happened, I went to the barbershop, and I was having this conversation inside the group chat, but the in-person was in the barbershop. And there were so many people that was taking Jordan Poole's side. And being involved in these team environments and being around players that have gotten into fights and all this stuff and seeing how this stuff goes down, when you looked at the body language of Draymond Green, you know, Draymond Green walked up to Jordan Poole with the body language of, man, we, not me, we are tired of you and your antics. And Jordan Poole, he wasn't trying to hear that. He put two hands on him, so Draymond slapped him. Jordan Poole got punched because he wasn't humble. It wasn't Draymond Green going off the Richter doing something crazy. Even though, you know, a lot of people think it's a crazy situation. I don't. But that happened because Jordan Poole wasn't humble. You think Draymond's the only person that felt like that? You don't think that there was murmurs and whispers going on the plane, in the locker room, in the facility, in group chats? You don't feel like you've heard the coaches talk to Jordan Poole and the frequency of Coach Kerr's voice or one of the assistants' voices is different when it talks to him than when they talk to everybody else? You don't think they pay attention to how the management was talking to Jordan Poole and the interactions with him? He clearly was an issue. And from the outside looking in, it just looks like he lacked humility because he let it linger the entire season. And this is your team, a team, and y'all really rock with each other. What happens in the facility stays in the facility. Even if it leaks out to the public, you're going to get in fights. I got best friends, brothers that I love. I don't have no biological brothers, but I got brothers. I done fought damn near all of them. As soon as the fight's over, somebody would have came up and said something to them, I'm knocking them out. And we closer than we ever been. Like, I rock with them, regardless if we get into it or not. But clearly that wasn't the case in Golden State. And Jordan Poole let it linger throughout the season. His body language, the half-hearted high fives, the moment that he gets traded, he immediately unfollows Draymond Green. Like, you're a child. You lack humility. You were in an amazing situation, making $100 million, playing a position that really fits you. The backup to Steph Curry, essentially, is what you was. And now you're going to the Washington Wizards. You're going to average 25, 26, 28 points per game. You're going to get off. But what you playing for now? Draft picks? You're going to play up to March, and they're going to say, hey, man, yo, we got a tank, man. We got to go get Matas Buzulis in the next draft. For what? Because you lacked humility? Stephon Marbury, the New York Knicks paid him to go away. We don't even want you around. We're going to give you all your money. Go away. Next thing you know, this man is on, for lack of a better term, Instagram Live, eating Vaseline out of a jar. You got to be humble. I don't care how good of a basketball player you are. I don't care what clout you have in your city, in your neighborhood, in your social circle. I don't care who's showing you all the love. At a certain point, your basketball skills ain't going to be as sharp as you think they are. And when that happens, if you were humble and you were a servant leader and you were pleasant to be around, they going to keep you around. That's how Udonis Haslem is in Miami for 20 plus years, and now he's going to be there for the rest of his life, as is his family. You want to get kicked out the NBA? You want to see how fast you can disappear from the NBA? Start walking around with arrogance and see what happens to you. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm out the pond. Y'all stay true.